first live session?
First live session in the sense like
In the sense,
first
like
live.
you are sitting, giving your interview.
Ready? One, two, three, go.
Okay, so we are live now. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome back to another interview experience with us. This time we are going live for the interview experience for PWC. So we are going to just take a couple of moments here. We are going to like ask the audience if they can just clarify us on the live chat if we are clearly audible and visible or not, and then we are going to start off with the live. So if you could just please put a thumbs up or a yes in the comment section, so that is going to let us know that we are clearly audible and visible. We are going to answer all your questions. So please wait until the session begins. So we are going to start off with all of the campus recruitment information. So just stay tuned, keep watching it. All your questions will be answered. Don't worry. We already have questions pouring in. All right, I think we can start off with the session here. So again, welcome everyone in this session here. So we have Tirth with us today, and he's going to give us an interview for PWC. So Tirth, can you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Hi guys, my name is Tirth. I am a student of St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, and I'm currently pursuing my BSc Economics honors. And I recently got placed in PWC as a technology consultant.
All right, so we are glad and we congratulate you, Tirth, on your placement here.
Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, let's begin with the basic question, which already we have on the live chat. That was it an on-campus or an off-campus placement?
It was an on-campus placement. They came to our college somewhere around at end October,
Mhm.
and the entire process was over by November first week.
All right. So you like they came towards the end of October and first of
Yeah,
November, like first week of November, you were placed already. So it
yeah,
was like let's say 10 to 15 days of affair,
yeah.
right? All right. So another very basic question: why did you go for PWC? Like, was it on your company list, or was it just because it came to the campus and you just tried your luck there?
No, actually, I have always been targeting PWC, and in fact, any one of the big fours. And I noticed that Deloitte did come to our college, but it was not for my stream. So
Okay.
as soon as PWC came and I read the job description, it perfectly suited my skill set, and it was something that caught my eye. So hence I applied for it.
All right. So it was on your list, and it
Yeah.
let's say it could have been your dream company as well out of the big four.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So I think you must have been on cloud nine when you received the confirmation mail that you are selected, because it has been your dream and you've achieved it. So congratulations there. All
Thank
right.
you
So
so
let's
much.
begin with your preparation. What was going on in your mind when you applied, registrations done? Now, what was your next step that you went towards?
So my the initial preparation for the entire placement process started from like August, I think. Numerous companies came, D, Shaw, Accenture, but I did not make it through because I felt that I lacked in the quantitative area in the aptitude test. So I got really sad, and PWC came, I wanted to crack the test. I wanted to get in the interview. So
Mm.
once I was just randomly scrolling through Instagram, I found this prep Insta page, and I immediately subscribed in August, and I prepared for around 2 months. And I did all my preparations from the logical, verbal, quantitative, and everything. And I completed all the courses, all the tests, mock tests, and that was my entire preparation for PwC.
All right. So you did make sure that you have your preparations in place and you gave yourself at least 2 months of full preparation,
Yes,
dedicated preparation, so that you
yes,
get placed, right? So this
yes,
shows that you are so dedicated towards placements and serious about it, right? So if you definitely work towards it, you are going to achieve it. Is like that
absolutely.
has been your motto, I feel so.
Yes.
Right. So let's begin with your selective selection round. So when did you receive the mail that you will be having, your first round, and what was it about?
So I applied in October, and then entire thing was written in our placement cell dashboard that first there will be a test, then there will be interviews. So the test happened somewhere on 3rd November, I think. It
Okay.
was an online test. The format was 1 hour, 60 minutes, and three sections: quantitative, logical, and verbal. The
Yeah.
difficulty of the test was pretty high, I'll not lie. The verbal portion was very easy, but the quants and logical was pretty complex, and you had
Okay.
to devote some amount of time to it and complete it within the given time frame. There
Okay.
was no negative marking, so that was a good thing.
All right.
And
So one thing noted for all the audience, that there's no negative marking.
no negative marking.
So yeah, that's, I think, a holy grail for students, because even if
Yes,
you go wrong, at least you're not marked negative, right? So
yes,
that
exactly.
saves your score. Yeah.
So
So
you attempt only the questions you know, and if you don't know a
exactly.
question, you just move on.
Yeah. Right. So that is what you did. Like,
Yes,
how
I
many
did exactly.
questions do you think that you attempted and you left out?
In quants, I think out of 15, I did 10 or 12, because some were pretty complex. And if I sat down and started doing those that, because I
Hmm.
had in my mind, I had divided the entire thing like 20 minutes or 10 minutes for verbal and
Hmm.
the rest for the two, because they needed some more
Sometimes.
amount of time. And the
Yeah.
logical out of the three was really complex. It was not the basic logical type of questions, for example, not the basic blood relation direction test,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they had given us some like for example, this was the question I remember because it was completely. I was terrified of this question. So
Okay.
there is a band of 6 members, and each member plays an instrument. Each member is from a country, and each member likes a color.
Okay.
So their names were given. So, for example, John is from China but does not like color pink but
Yeah.
plays drums. So we had to make a matrix form and then solve the
Yeah.
entire thing. And after
Yeah.
that, there were three questions that followed. So you had to solve those questions.
Solve those questions based on the assumptions already given
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, like we call them like kind of inference and all. Like,
Yes.
I don't know the exact term, but I think that is what they call it. Right. So that is quite complicated. And if it had been given to you at a time when you're already under pressure, you are under pressure of
Hmm.
performance and
Hmm.
giving your best to get selected, these kind of questions take a turn. Definitely.
And especially if there was negative marking, especially if there
Especially
was.
if there's a negative mark. So that is why it's a holy grail. It's
Yes.
it's going to save you, right? And what is the deal with the quants? Like you said that you already
Hmm.
thought that you lacked in the quants part.
Hmm.
So how did you
So
gel up with?
my weak point has always been quants. So I have no shame in saying this because everyone
Yeah,
has some weak points.
I think most
So
of us have that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So quants was, I'll say quants was basic: profit
Okay.
and loss, time and distance, averages. But the
Okay.
question level was pretty high. It was not the
All
basic
right.
CP is given, SP is given, find profit. It was not like that. The
Mm-hmm.
level of questions were pretty high.
Okay. So you think that basic topics that you have to brush up on the basic formulas as well?
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
advanced level questions.
Yes, the questions were
Yeah.
pretty advanced, so you need to
Mm.
have a good fundamental,
Mm.
and then apply those fundamentals to solve advanced
Yeah.
questions.
So, do you think, like, what time do you think would be appropriate in order to prepare for such kind of examinations? Basing on your experience itself, do you think 15 days or 30 days, 60 days would have been enough?
I think it completely depends from person to person, like
Mm.
depends on their capabilities and their caliber.
Yeah.
I particularly focused more on quants because I did not even go through verbal, and I practiced logical, but I did not go through the verbal part. I
Mm.
focused completely on quants, and it took me around 45 to 60 days to complete the entire syllabus because
Yeah.
the
So,
syllabus remains the same for each and every
yeah.
company.
So combining fonts and logical, you had to invest at least, let's say, 45 minutes, 45 days minimum
Yeah,
in
minimum.
order to get selected.
Yes.
All right. So that was all about your first round, and was it that, or did you have any other round as well before the interview?
No, this was the only round before the interview, the
All
online
right.
online test.
All right. So this was the only section that you had for
Yes.
the entire time.
Yes.
And did you prepare for all of these completely? Like, what were the resources? Was it YouTube or?
I initially I tried all the free resources out there. So
Hmm.
example, there is one India Big site, so that
Hmm.
is pretty good. And of course, I use Prep Instart for the placement papers, previous year's papers, mock tests, solved questions, and all, which
Hmm.
actually helped me to gain confidence.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we do have a good, strong aptitude base along with coding as well. So if you
Yes.
definitely like, if people like you also come and feel that the aptitude section or the coding section is good, so I think a lot of audiences, a lot of students who would like to also prepare might go and take a look on the prime section as well, and they might absolutely find something very useful there.
Yes.
Right. Do you agree with that? All right.
Exactly.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
that acknowledgement. All right. So this particular round was over within how many minutes? What was the time
Uh,
limit?
this was just a 60-minute exam,
Okay. So 1 hour.
and yeah, 1 hour exam. The time limit was 1 hour, and
Yeah. All
after
right.
2 days they declared the results. So 50% of the people who applied were selected, and
Okay.
then right after they declared the result on the next day, we had the interview process, which was a whole day process. It started from 9 in the
Okay.
morning. It was virtual. Everything was
Okay.
virtual. It started from 9 in the morning and finished at around,
Okay. So the entire
yeah.
9 to 5 journey it
Yes.
was.
Yes.
They already gave you
So
an experience of 9 to 5.
they did.
Yeah.
They
So
did.
let's talk about the interview preparations and how, like, were you very confused? And like, I would like to ask, was it your first placement examination or interview that you've been sitting for?
Yes, this was my first
Yeah, so
ever.
I think again the pressure has been doubled because this is your first performance and
Yes.
you do not have any prior experience,
No.
right? So, how did you deal with the pressure?
So I took help from my relatives who are in the consultancy line. So they gave me a brief idea of what
Mm.
the interviews could ask you, and the pattern of the PWC interview is like first is a technical round, then is the partners round, which is an interview with the one of the stakeholders of PWC, and
Mm.
after that we have the HR round. So in technical round, they basically asked me about firstly my subject knowledge,
Mm.
economics, and
Yeah.
they asked me a variety of questions related to economics, both Indian, world, micro, macro, and all. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, they did ask me whatever was written on my CV. For example, I wrote about Power BI in Excel, so they
Mm.
asked me questions related to Power BI, which were pretty basic,
Mm.
not something advanced.
Mm.
So it was like a conversation because the PwC HR team is very very nice. So it was
Okay.
like a conversation, and it was not really like, I did not feel pressure in the technical round. But when I moved on to the partners round, it was very difficult because that interview went on for like 45 minutes,
Okay.
and he asked me everything related to my subject, to my family background, to what I want to become in life, to why PwC, everything. And that went on for like 40 to 50
Okay.
minutes. So
So we
that
can
was
say it
pretty
was
tough.
core HR.
Yes, core HR
Deeply.
plus it was a rapid fire round
Okay.
on the stuff which was written on my CV.
CV.
Everything,
So yeah. So
everything.
do you think that having a good resume and having an updated resume is going to play a like vital role in your interview?
Yes, it does play a vital role, I believe, because your CV should match with the job description. Even
Hmm.
you, if you have like 10 skills and only five of them are relevant, just write about those five of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and
co-curricular activities also play a big role because they
yeah,
get, they ask you a lot of questions regarding that.
definitely. And do you go towards certification? What about those? Like, did you aspire to get a little more certifications to gain more skills?
Yes, I did. This year only, I did three certification courses. One
All
was
right.
for Excel, and
Hmm.
one was for Power BI, and one was for Spanish course. So
All
they did
right.
not ask me anything about the Spanish part because,
Yeah.
so it was mainly focused on Excel and Power BI because
Hmm.
it was specifically written in the job description
Written
that
in the
people
job description.
people with
Yeah.
these backgrounds will be preferred. So
All right. So you definitely ticked off all of the check boxes that they required. So I think
yes,
that would have also added to your you being selected because you had the required skills
yes,
apart from your confidence and your knowledge. Right.
yes,
So I think that also played a very important role.
yes.
Right. So do you think like that has like what if you would have just one word for this particular interview experience, what would have been? Yeah.
Uh, One word, it was an eye opener for me. I'll not lie because it was my
Okay.
first ever interview.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to expect. I had no
Hmm.
prior experience, and I just went with the flow and I was confident throughout the process. I did
Hmm.
not fumble on any single question. Even if I didn't know the answer, I just said, "Sorry, sir, I don't know the answer," and he just
Yeah.
accepted because you cannot know everything in the world.
Yeah.
So there are some things which you might not know, and that's absolutely fine
Hmm.
because
This is a very
yeah,
important and a very good point that you took up, that whenever you do not know an answer, just go with I do not know instead of making up, or instead of pretending that you're thinking of an
yes,
answer, right?
yes.
So a lot of students come to us like when they say that what would I have done because I didn't know the answer, so I made
Hmm.
it up, and that is something where students actually go wrong,
Hmm.
right? So, what would have been a good tip from you had you already experienced it, right? So, like for the audience who is watching you, like, do you have some tip regarding this particular situation about being honest, or not knowing the answer is not a problem?
Hmm. So when you just say that you don't know the answer, first of all, it shows your honesty. It
Hmm.
shows that you are ready to learn and ready to,
Yeah.
actually ready to be accountable for your mistakes because
Mhm.
the interviewer has been taking interviews for like years and years. If you
Yeah.
are just making up some answer, he knows that you're making up that answer and you don't know
Exactly.
the answer.
Yeah.
So just accepting that you are not in a position to answer that question goes a long way.
Yeah, it definitely honesty goes a long way in
Yes.
any which format it is, right? So let's talk about a few of your HR questions. Like you've already
Okay.
told that
Hmm.
you had a good pressure on the HR questions.
Hmm.
So do you remember one or a couple of questions which you think would have been the decision making answers of yours?
Uh, yes, the one question they asked me was how are you unique from the other 150 candidates who are sitting for the interview?
Yeah, very asked question.
Yes, so
How
that
are you
was a
different?
pretty
Yeah.
important question I felt, and this to be answered, you have to actually sit with yourself,
Mhm.
write about what I did was I prepared a Word document. I just wrote random stuff about myself.
Hmm.
Why am I unique? What are my skills? What makes me different from the second person? So that actually helped me to uh, form a well structured answer, and I guess the interview was pretty convinced.
Yeah. So do you think that you have to, you have already prepared yourself of for being unique and having an answer for the same, right? You knew
Hmm.
somehow that you are going to be asked this question and you have already prepared for it,
I
right?
did have a
So
feeling because just the previous night I wrote a full paragraph